preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to this, our second installment of Disney soundtrack favorites on the Dads, not always on wrestling. As we had last week, we have a special guest this week. We will get to her momentarily. I am, of course, the West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham. To my left on real life, but right on screen, which I hate that I have to say like that every time because people don't understand what I'm trying to say. But JJ Williams is here, of course, because he's the other dad, not always on wrestling. That's how it works. But with us today, as we had last week, we had a special guest waxing proxy about the Walt era, if you will, as JJ dubbed it, up to 1970 with the soundtrack songs. Today we have somebody that, like he and I, grew up, and our fandom was formulated during this Renaissance era of songs from 1971 to 2000 because, unlike our guest next week, we were all born between 1971 and 2000, so... Joining us is Teresa, my sister from, I hate the phrase another mister. It sounds so stupid, but it is what she is. She's my dearest friend. So, we're family, damn it.
That's
and
right.
as we record this, we're just actually, as this airs, we are the day before our Disneyland trip. So it's only proper that we have her for our Disney show this week. Sis, I know it's been a struggle to get everybody on camera. I know we're all still under the weather a little bit, but glad to see you finally on screen a little bit.
Glad to be here. Minus my voice.
Yes, but that's okay. We are pushing through. And as was stated by JJ last week, we're going to go in reverse order. We're gonna throw the Uno card down, hit reverse this week, because JJ will be starting us off, as he is, much to his chagrin, the oldest in the room, and he was born in the earliest time period of this Renaissance era, going back, figure we're covering another, 40 years like we did last week?
Just about, yeah.
9. So, yeah, JJ will be going first. Teresa will, to use a baseball term, hitting cleanup. Or no, actually, no. You're leading off, because there's not 4 batters. I don't know. JJ's leading off. Teresa's coming in afterwards, and then I'll bring it home. There we go. I got it.
There we go.
It's really
the starting lineup today.
Starting lineup. There we go. Thank you. Because baseball's over, but we still love the Dodgers, damn it. So, anyway, just to clarification once again, for those of you that missed last week's show and haven't seen social media for the past month, because we've been talking about this ad freaking nauseum, everything in the Disney discography library counts, except songs that were originally written to be used in the Disney theme parks, Disneyland, California Adventure, Walt Disney World, etc. Now, if a song was written for a movie, a television show, a other form of media within the Walt Disney Company, because Lord knows we own every friggin' thing, and then applied to the parks, it can be used. Hence my use of a Mary Poppins song last week and citing its use in the park. So, JJ, with that being said, go to it, brother.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for that introduction and that throw too. And, I've got some heavy hitters here this week. It's the Renaissance at the end of the day. Yeah, there's a little bit of the dark ages, the dark times, before the Empire. But at its core this week, we're talking about the Renaissance because arguably that is the greatest era in Disney filmmaking that isn't the original Golden Age with Snow White, Pinocchio, Dumbo, etc.
That's fair. Yes.
So most of my songs come from that very limited time span between 1988 and 1999. I did originally have a song from the 70s on my list, but it got bumped off because I knew Teresa had it and was trying to avoid as many doubles as possible.
Yes.
So kicking off my list is a newer addition to my rotation of songs from the Renaissance era, as I was only introduced to this film in its entirety, I'd say the last 5, maybe 7 years. I saw it for the first time in its entirety.
All right.
We're going to 1995's A Goofy Movie, Eye to Eye from Powerline.
Nice.
Discovering that it was Tevin Campbell who did this song.
Right.
Discovering, you know, the Goofy movie in general and watching it in its entirety, I don't know why I stayed away from it from as long as I did.
Yeah.
But once I was introduced to it and I started watching it, it very quickly joined my rotation because it's a damn catchy song. It just is.
Yes. Yeah, I enjoyed the Goofy movie so much. I don't have a song from that movie on my list because I haven't watched it near as I actually saw. I don't think I've seen it the whole way through, to be honest with you. But I do enjoy what I've seen, and to be honest, you know, the sheer joy I experienced seeing Max in the park a couple weeks ago was like, whoa, he does exist. So much that I texted both of you like, look who I saw. Because after the Goofy movie and, you know, and even the sequel and Goof Troop, he kind of like faded away, even as a character in the parks.
Yeah.
So to have you start off with a Goofy movie song is wonderful because I don't think that franchise, the Goofy movie era of stuff, doesn't get near enough love for my money. And Lord knows, man, Bill Farmer has taken that role and made it his own the last, you know, almost 40 years. And he is so good in this movie, as is you know, everybody else in the movie. So I love you start out with this. Bravo.
And arguably the most tolerable Pauly Shore ever was in a movie, if we're being 100% accurate.
This is 100% accurate. Are you kidding me? Jesus. Plus you don't see his silly ass face, so it's always good.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me some Son-in-Law and Encino Man, but I would definitely put this as like his number 3 movie.
Yeah, I would say both his involvement in the Renaissance era as well as David Spade both make him tolerable. So there you go.
Moving on to number 9 on my list is another one that I discovered later on, more recently. And it's mainly because I've always been such a fan of the original telling of this tale. From 1996, Topsy-Turvy from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Great choice.
You know, and the fact that Topsy-Turvy Day is the 6th of January, which is special for other reasons in my life.
A little bit.
You know, being my daughter's birthday.
Yes.
It just makes that song that much more special because it's a throwaway line when you truly think about it.
Yes.
But having someone so close to you that has that birthday, it's like, hey, her birthday's Topsy-Turvy Day.
Right.
Which explains so much.
Yeah.
Accurate.
That was the one regret about when I was able to tag along with you guys. We actually went on her birthday that one year because the theater that had Hunchback was so already phased out at that point. That would have been a perfect thing to go to because of the synergy.
They really should do something at the parks every January 6th and just trot those characters out, even if it's only that one day.
Right?
But do something special over there where they do the storytelling now and just do a big old Topsy-Turvy Day to do.
Seriously, they've repurposed that theater so many times. It's now a Tale of the Lion King or whatever it's called now, and that's great. But there's the whole big area. Hell, they're still repurposing Toontown. Carve a piece out of there for that. Just have, you know, Topsy-Turvy Day in January. Have the long lost character days be a regular thing, and just have a corner of Toontown and be like, okay, this day's for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what do I know? I just work there.
I know, right? Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Number eight is going to be the first slow jam on the list.
Okay.
And it's an amazing song. And it comes at a pivotal point in the movie. It's the first mainstream song on my list as well, as it was released as a pop single by one Miss Christina Aguilera. Reflection from 1998's Mulan.
Love it.
I don't know what else to say about that one. It's just such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And you hear the stories of how Christina got the song anyways, having been on the Mickey Mouse Club and sending in a tape of her singing a Whitney Houston song to try to get the song for the company. And being in the studio and not being able to hit that note that she needed, them all but ready to give up on her. And then she nailed it like in the next take, and it's like, there we go.
Yeah.
And her career was pretty much set after that. I mean, you think of where Christina has gone since Mulan and the Mickey Mouse Club, and had they dismissed her and not given her that one last chance to hit the note she needed to hit, who knows where she would have ended up. You know, Mickey Mouse Club, where are they now?
Right. Funny that her career started with a song from Mulan, and one of her biggest hits was from Moulin Rouge. So there you go. It's kind of circle of life stuff we're talking about there. I love that. That's cool. Very cool.
Number 7 on my list is just one of those gut punches.
Oh, damn it, Jay.
It is like as slow jamish as Reflection is, this is just that knockout blow to your senses, because it comes to us from a person who's known for depressing songs. 1999.
Oh, hell.
When She Loved Me from Toy Story 2.
Oh, God. Oh.
I stayed far away from that one.
Right? So did I. You kidding me?
But how, I literally had this in You've Got a Friend in Me in contention on my list, and I went with this one more. Just because when you really break it down, I think it's the more pivotal song. It is the best song in the Toy Story franchise, bar none, in my personal opinion. You know, You Got a Friend in Me may be the most iconic. Right. You know, it may be the When You Wish Upon a Star of the franchise, but When She Loved Me is just so pivotal in understanding why Jessie is so hesitant to open back up again.
Yep.
You know,
the story behind it really carries through part 3 and 4 too. So I agree.
It's just one of those. It's one of those songs, and Sarah McLachlan and her voice, like, with the exception of like Building a Mystery, like most everything else that she's really done that has been a huge hit is just that slow, melancholy, depressing. You think about the song Angel that plays in all those freaking pet commercials for, you know, the pound and everything.
City of Angels movie.
Yeah, it's like,
right. Jesus. Luckily,
her voice is just one of those that knows how to Mortal Kombat, just rip into your chest cavity, pull out your heart, and just like, okay, you don't need this no more.
No. By the grace of the YouTube gods, we were saved with a little bit of humor regarding this song, thanks to Laycool and a friendly YouTuber. But that's the topic for another show. Yeah. Which is in the archives on the Casa, by the way. You can look it up. It's the only place that video still exists, for the record.
Damn right.
Damn it. Anyway,
damn right.
We saved it for posterity.
Speaking of love, number 6 on my list is the only song on my list to come from a live action Disney movie during this time frame.
Ooh.
And while I know that everybody in this room will remember this song in this movie, I think it's en masse a really underrated and forgotten about gem.
Okay.
From 1993, Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting, All for Love, from the Three Musketeers.
I agree.
I almost used that one.
Yeah.
But I figured Jay would.
You know, you got Rod Stewart, who's one of the most definitive vocalists of the 70s.
Yes.
You've got Sting, who is definitive from the late 70s to the early 80s with the Police. And granted, he still had a hell of a solo career after the Police, but arguably the height of his career was the late 70s, early 80s. Okay. And then you got Bryan Adams, who came along there in the mid 80s into the early 90s with songs like Summer of 69, Cuts Like a Knife, Everything I Do for You.
Right.
3 definitive voices of their times in rock history coming together for this gem of a track from a movie. There's hundreds of tellings of Three Musketeers out there. There's almost as many movies of that as there are A Christmas Carol, which if you haven't seen any Christmas carols, you could check that out on the channel this week. But you figure Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, Chris O'Donnell, Tim Curry, Rebecca De Mornay, Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, Steen. Like, is there enough star power on this freaking movie?
Right?
And people don't remember it.
Yeah,
That's the shame. Like, you think
Yeah.
about all that star power,
Yeah.
and people don't remember it.
I would argue people think of Musketeers now and they think of the Heath Ledger version because Heath passed, and it's like, oh well, you know, he was he was in that, so we got to remember that one more.
Heath Ledger was
he
not in Three
was he in
Musketeers.
Musketeers?
I think
Or
you're
am I-
thinking of the A Knight's Tale.
Knight's
I'm thinking
Tale.
Knight's Tale. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I think of Mickey and the Musketeers, so and that's just me and my own Mickey fandom dorkness. So don't mind me. But yeah,
But I mean, like we said, there's so many tellings of it, and it's such an all-star cast, such a great song from a great movie, some amazing one-liners throughout it from
God,
Oliver
right?
Platt and Tim Curry and Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah.
You know, the whole with a snap of my fingers, you can be back on the street where I found you, and with a flick of my wrist, I can change your religion.
yeah,
Like,
Then
damn, okay.
there's also the Mickey, Donald, and Goofy one too.
Mhm.
right. Which
That has
was
some good music in it,
yeah, that's
especially the turtle singing.
the
Natalie used to
Musketeers.
love the turtle.
The Musketeers story definitely lends itself to being, almost a default musical, which I know much to his
Yeah.
chagrin more often than not. But this one is it really hits home. And this song in particular, like you said, you got star power on that track, man. It's not definitive necessarily, but definitely major voices from each of their eras. So again, nicely done.
Coming at number 5, and as you can tell, if you saw last week, if you're paying attention this week, I'm trying my damnedest only to pick one song for a movie.
Right.
And number 5, like, there's so many great song choices to choose from this movie. It's like, how do you narrow it down?
Carefully.
And at the end of the day, I tried to go with the songs from this movie that I didn't think either of the other people on the panel would go for.
Okay.
However, just simply billing it like that, I feel downplays the song. But this is also, as horribly as I do sing, and you two can attest to that, this is the song that I have the most fun singing from this movie. Because I literally do every part of it.
Nice.
I
You
dream
gotta pick yourself.
from The Lion King.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more fun songs from the movie, and to this day when they're
So
doing
much
this
fun.
with this particular part, I'll sit here and like lean one way to sing Jonathan Taylor Thomas, or not Jonathan, because he's not singing. Let's not kid ourselves. Simba's part, and the other way to sing Nala's part, and then sit right in the middle to do Zazu's voice, just to change it up instead of sitting there karaokeing. It's fun. You're right. Absolutely right.
It's a blast to sing.
Yeah,
And
Mr. Bean.
I was going to say, honestly, I never got into the Mr. Bean gimmick. This is like the most tolerable I ever found Rowan Atkinson.
Yes.
Legitimately. Like,
for real.
I know people who love Mr. Bean. They just love that kind of humor. And I sit there and admittingly, I watch some stupid comedy sometimes. But I sit there and I'll watch Mr. Bean and I'm like, what the fuck you got me watching, yo? For real. It's
Charles W was so funny.
But I just adore I Just Can't Wait to Be King. It is so fun.
Yeah.
So
fair,
that's why I picked it over Hakuna Matata, which was in serious contention also. I picked it over Can You Feel the Love Tonight, Circle of Life, Be Prepared. Like,
right?
Again, there's so many great songs in this movie. Narrowing it down to one, so hard.
Well, when you've got, Elton John, providing backup help to the great, the greatness that is Alan and everybody, it's like, it's kind of hard to go against this movie for any song, really.
And honestly, that's going to be a common theme throughout the rest of my list here. Is like there's so many great songs in each of these movies, whereas the ones that came before it in the bottom half of my list, there's some decent ones, but there's really just those one or two definitives.
Right.
From 5 to 1, man, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, we always talk about subjective.
Yeah.
This is the most subjective part of the list.
Yeah.
5 through 1 for me because
we had talked about 5 through 1 on our Santa show being like, no, we will die on the hill with a stake of holly in our heart as those being the definitive Santas. These Disney songs are a mugger to choose from, especially the Renaissance movies, because they're so good. The music's so great. In defense of Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean doesn't talk very much, so at least we get to hear his voice, and it's not intolerable when he's playing Zazu. So there is that balance for Rowan there.
He is quite intelligent on top of that.
Yes. Zazu is trying to be the voice of reason. God bless him.
Right? Until he starts singing "It's a Small World After All."
In which case, everybody wants to line up behind Scar to smack him in the beak. No!
Moving right along to the film that kicked off the Renaissance. And again, officially kicked it off. And again, you want to talk about how hard it is to pick a song from this movie. But I went with Kiss the Girl.
Nice.
From The Little Mermaid.
I dig it.
You know, you've got Sebastian singing a couple times through the movie because he does Under the Sea as well. But I just think the way that he sets up the whole song here is just so smooth. So well done. And then he just leans in there and it's like a flashback to Sinatra or Martin, the way he just basically sings this crooning love song to them to try to get Eric to kiss her to break the spell, and he comes so close but just misses the mark.
Yep.
It's an amazing song. But again, you've got Under the Sea, you've got Part of Your World, you got Poor Unfortunate Souls. It's like it's so hard to choose.
Yeah.
At the end, it comes down to the moment for me.
Yeah.
And not even just the moment in the movie, but the way they depict the moment on the Little Mermaid ride at DCA is just so great with the audio animatronics and everything as well. So
I think they really picked the best songs to throw into Ariel's Undersea Adventure, because Under the Sea is such a great theme. Part of Your World has to be part of it. It's the whole theme of the movie. Ursula's song has to be in there because we had to cram Ursula in there, despite how many times she falls apart. All the time. God bless Ursula, oh Lord. And then Kiss the Girl and the finale. You gotta have those. So they really did a good job, and I applaud that choice, because Mermaid's probably the hardest one. There's, for me anyway, because there's so many good ones.
Well, one thing I know is that with the live action coming out, Lin-Manuel Miranda said, "I am not touching any of the songs. They are staying as is."
And that's a good move by him. His favorite
movie. And then his kids, he sang it to his kids growing up.
Yeah.
So he kept that intact. So that's a good thing coming up in May.
For real. Yeah. Lynn, if anybody will keep that on course, it'll be Lynn. That's good.
The only thing I could understand if Lynn added to the movie is much like the live action movies have done here lately, where characters that never got a song got one. I'd love to see him add something for Eric to sing.
I know he added one or more for Sebastian, which is what's his name? The guy from
I forget too.
Hamilton.
Oh,
played Jefferson.
Yeah. Anyway, Sebastian doesn't really get his own story song, so that's perfect. I'm sure we'll talk about people getting their own songs next week as well, because there's a lot of good live actions that have come out in the post Renaissance. That need to be addressed. So,
while The Little Mermaid may be the official kickoff of the Renaissance, my number 3 song comes from the movie that I have always considered the true start of the Renaissance era.
Yes.
And although I know that there is definitely representation from this on Teresa's list, how do you not go with Why Should I Worry by Billy Joel from Oliver and Company?
Yes.
I mean,
our daughter has a hard time. Yeah.
This is another one where the songs in this are so good and underrated. You've got Jenny singing Good Company, which is a solid slow song. Yep. You've got Ruth Pointer from the Pointer Sisters singing Streets of Gold. You've got Huey Lewis, the man who taught us about the power of love just a few years prior on the soundtrack. The first thing you hear before we even meet Dodger, and those of you that were paying attention at the start of the video were introduced to Dodger in the background on Teresa's end, but I digress there.
Yes.
There's just so much. And then you think about all the celebrity voices that became like the core of the all-star nature of things like Aladdin and the Lion King. That's why I have always said that Oliver and Company is the true jump off point of the Renaissance. They just don't acknowledge it Roman Reigns style. It's The Little Mermaid.
Which is a crime, I think, because as much as I personally enjoy Great Mouse Detective, there really wasn't a definitive, oh man, let's pop it on the radio song from Great Mouse Detective. Whereas Why Should I Worry got play on the radio, boy, I tell you what.
Mm-hmm. And it's there's another story behind that there, much like the story of Christina and Reflection. At first they didn't think Billy Joel was the right guy to voice Dodger, not necessarily to sing the song, because when you think New York at that time, you think Billy Joel.
Oh yeah.
But as far as being a voice actor, they just didn't think he had it. And he was trying and he couldn't get it. And much like the story that's been around for years about Eazy-E first recording Boys in the Hood, as soon as Billy put on those sunglasses, he just kind of slid into the Dodge and found the vibe and the charisma and the whole flow of the character and off and running.
Yeah. Billy Joel was so New York in that decade or more period that when Garth went to Central Park, he made sure Billy Joel was part of that show.
Absolutely.
Like that was just like, no, Billy Joel has to be at Central Park with me. There's just no way around that. And it was a freaking awesome pair of songs they did for the record. So anyway,
absolutely.
As they should.
And then there were two.
Oh boy.
And coming in at number 2 is a song from 1992. And the song follows a simple question from our lead character. Do you trust me?
Oh, look at you.
A Whole New World from Aladdin. And I mean, what more can be said about A Whole New World? Like, up until they did the live version, this was Jasmine's only time singing in the movie.
Right?
And it was always something that I felt was a crying shame. And I'm sure we'll discuss that next week when we get to part 3 of this series. But
yes,
I always felt like Jasmine got the shaft. Much as Aurora gets the shaft by not getting to be marketed in her blue dress thanks to somebody.
I knew that was coming out today with you 2-1. I knew it. But go ahead.
Jasmine got the shaft as being the only princess at the time to not have her own song. The only other princess out there who doesn't have her own song, to my knowledge, is Merida from Brave.
Yeah.
She doesn't sing any song.
No.
But she's Pixar. She's from the other studio, so, doesn't really count there. But it's that moment in the movie. Again, it comes down to the moment. I've always adored the song. Anyways, Jasmine is my princess.
Yes.
Aladdin is my princess movie. always has been, always will be. But it's that moment. Do you trust me? And you can kind of see the look in her eyes, like she's realizing the familiarity in what's happening. She hasn't completely put it together yet, but you can see Pinky running around on the hamster wheel inside her brain, putting together something's going on here.
Yes.
And then by the time the ride is over, she's pieced it together.
Yes. Brilliantly, by the way she drags it out. That was such a brilliant line, and he totally steps in it and tracks it through the carpet, through the house.
Big time.
Because even carpet's going, don't! No, wait. Oh, good stuff. Good choice. Very good.
And then number one.
Yeah, now I'm curious because that's your movie. That's your girl. What's number one?
Well, I am gonna say I cheated just a smidge on number one. Just a smidge.
And she apparently knows. So now I'm really curious because I have no idea what the hell's going on now. So,
she knows that one of her honorable mentions was going to be on my list, and I haven't talked about it yet.
Okay.
I'm giving mad love to the entire Disney afternoon block.
Hard to argue with those theme songs. I mean,
I mean, not pictured Goof Troop, but it would have been hard to try to smash 5 images together for all of this. But this right here was my Disney afternoon lineup.
Right?
DuckTales, Rescue
91
Rangers,
to 93.
Tailspin, and Darkwing Duck.
Yep.
And then once DuckTales got bumped and everything shifted forward and they added Goof Troop, I was cool. I was down with Goof Troop.
Yeah.
Once Rescue Rangers got bumped and everything shifted forward, and then they added like Bonkers and Gargoyles and the spin-off shows from the movies, like the Little Mermaid animated show, the Aladdin, the Timon and Pumbaa. I was done after that.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as Bonkers debuted, I would turn the TV off at 4:30 when Bonkers came on.
Yep. Pretty much.
However, one thing with them, with the Disney afternoon, they did stay true. Jim Cummings was in all of them.
Yep.
Yes.
As he should be.
That's it.
As he should be.
It's like an afternoon with Jim Cummings.
Hey,
pretty much. Much love to Jim. Everybody knows my affinity for Jim Cummings. Hence the Darkwing Duck shirt. Hence him being featured in the number 1 spot.
Yes.
But I mean,
all of it.
You can't go wrong with the Disney afternoon, even though I was an older teen by then.
Right.
The Disney afternoon helped raise me.
Yeah.
To the point where I've passed that knowledge on to other generations.
Yes.
I have to.
I know.
No,
I didn't take away from you, but we're talking my list now.
Yes.
Jeez.
I will say they definitely need to add all these to Disney Plus. That way, even though our kids are teenagers and don't give a shit anymore, they still need to be properly educated on these shows in full. The full 30-minute block.
Absolutely.
Especially since they just did that Rescue Ranger movie.
Yes, which, having been part of the magic at that point, how were those two not in their costume during Halloween season? Still baffles my damn brain. Even on Halloween, I was in the park on Halloween before I went home sick. There was no Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger costumes, and I was sitting there going, Teresa was here, she'd be leveling heads right now. This is bullshit.
For real. Like,
terrible.
They should have been in those costumes.
And again, they missed it.
They should have been in those costumes the entire month they were promoting that movie, and then they should have come back out at Halloween.
And
the only time to date that we saw Pooh and Tigger in the Super Sleuth costumes was Christmas that one year. We know they've got the Rescue Ranger costumes in the back. Use them.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't have the exact Rescue Ranger costumes in Disneyland, but they do have what they used over at Storytellers.
Yeah.
Which
it's close.
The shirt and
Yeah.
I worked there, and people were like, "Oh, Rescue Rangers!" I was like, Sure. Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And I know Iger heard that said at least once. So it's like, come on,
It's
Bob,
still
you're back
closer.
in charge here.
It's still closer than calling Brer Bear in the Big Blue House.
Which was the greatest thing I've heard in recent memory.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you poor uneducated soul instead of unfortunate soul. Oh, Lordy.
What's worse is it was about Brother Bear, and everyone's like, who?
Right. The whole point of that restaurant was to get a little love to Brother Bear. Everybody's going, okay. And?
Miko got love. Chippendale got love. Pluto got love. Brer Fox when he showed up.
Yeah. The fact that Brer Bear got recognized for Bear in the Big Blue House, considering that Brer Bear, by all accounts and privileges, does not exist.
Right.
I mean, shit.
Like he's beyond Bruno status, which I'm sure again that'll be discussed next week as well.
We
but
definitely don't talk about the Brers inside the parks anyway, especially now that it's officially going to be gone. Oh, Lordy.
So
and no, kids, we're not riding that when we go in a couple weeks. It's too damn cold. Anyway,
so that wraps up my list.
Bravo, sir. I dig it.
Teresa, turning things over to you. I've got your list all queued up, ready to go here.
You have number 10
will.
or you have number 1?
10-1.
10-1, just like Jace.
Okay, well, I'm going to name a few things that you guys didn't mention. Starting off with my number 10. Back in the 80s, when Disney Channel started in 1983, they had a little window of TV shows.
Yes.
There was Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. There was a couple others, but the one that always stuck with me was Dumbo Circus.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Lord. Like, granted, I was born in 83, so I don't remember this, but I remember watching it back later. Good Lordy.
And here's a little side note. Jim Cummings is also in this.
Of course he is.
Mm-hmm. His first performance for Disney.
It's his first performance working for Disney. Was
really? I didn't know that.
Lionel the lion.
Interesting.
Yes. And actually, a lot of the voice actors for that show went on to do other things, but he was the one that his star just took off and he ran with it. That song just so cute.
Yeah. The whole show, and again,
it seemed like then they were doing those like puppeteers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Before Big Blue House, before all that. It was Winnie the Pooh. It was Dumbo. It was all that.
Yeah.
Before the Dark Times. Before the Eisner. Empire. Sorry.
All right, my number 9 kind of piggybacks off of Jay's. It's one he did mention, but it's not the same song.
Oh.
And that is from a Goofy movie, which is
nice.
on the Open Road.
Oh, right on.
The cavalcade of other characters.
Right.
From Disney, from Looney Tunes, from various others.
Yes.
It is a who's who if you know who they are.
Right? Yeah.
It's like a game of Where's Waldo.
Yeah, right. Now, Natalie, our daughter, wanted me to do the one that they sing when they're floating down the river and they're mad at each other.
Right.
It doesn't stick. It's not me. On the Open Road, you need to get everybody involved. It's like you can't help but sing.
Yes.
You know, it's like Willie Nelson's on the road again. You're
right. There you go.
And on the Open Road is the one image that Teresa asked me to change my original picture for, because I originally had this one.
Weird.
The two of them bickering back and forth. And I just want to throw out there, the reason I picked this image is because I feel like it defines Natalie riding in the car with me. Me trying to do my songs, singing things like "You're Welcome" or something, trying to get some enjoyment out of her, and her just like, "Will you knock it off, Dad?"
That's more like Alana and I.
No,
I don't want to hear that. No.
Oh.
But yeah, like that's why I picked that. I felt like it was so definitive of us, especially that drive when we took our trip to Vegas a few years back, pre-pandemic, really before the dark times.
Right.
You know,
Jesus.
so perfect.
Great
All right.
choice. Great stories.
My next one comes from also a Toy Story. Toy Story 2 from 99. And I went with, which was Howard Ashman's first writing for Disney.
Oh.
And John Lasseter also was like, okay, who do we pick to sing this? The quintessential country band at the time was Riders in the Sky, and they did Woody's Roundup.
Wow.
That's one that a lot of people forget. Because you got the Sarah McLachlan one that tugs at your heartstring and stamps, you know, like, remember me.
Right.
Right.
But Woody's Roundup, I mean, I'm a country fan, so I knew Riders in the Sky. I, know their music and stuff. And then hearing them, I was like, I know them. I know that.
Yes.
I think part of why it's so forgotten in this movie is because it's really just that little snippet of the TV theme when they're showing Woody where he originated from, the fact that he's this iconic TV star. Like, you only get that little blip.
But you also get it in the credits.
But how many people honestly stick around for the credits, especially when they've got little kids trying to get out of there?
Pre-Marvel days, not too many.
That's
exactly.
Right.
So yes, that's kind of the point.
You should.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it is a great song. I definitely applaud you for choosing that one, and it totally fits your style and your taste.
Did they ever play Crazy Horse when you were there? Riders in the Sky? Did they ever do Crazy Horse?
Yes, once.
Damn, lucky. Anyway, carry on.
Okay. Number 7 from 1971. I have a 70s here.
Oh.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Beautiful, whiny.
Nice.
You've got both of them. You got Angela Lansbury. And then you got God, I'm losing his last name. David
Tomlinson.
Tomlinson, yes. You've got both of them.
Yes.
Disney legends.
Right.
And you also got a movie that's really not very well known now.
Yeah.
And it didn't really, stay relevant.
Right.
But honestly, if you think of those two, you think, for David, you think Mary Poppins. For Angela, you think Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
But even before that, it was, one of Disney's first attempts on, cartoon and real,
Yep. Yeah,
so,
it was.
I believe it's only the second after Mary Poppins.
It is.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so not as held in high regard as Mary, because it seemed like a poor man's follow-up or attempt. Because you had
a Wish version.
Yeah.
Right? You had a witch type person coming in to be a nanny. I mean, that's Mary Poppins. But it's not, because it's not Mary
And
Poppins.
the dad's the same.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so we went to Target and ended up at Walmart. How did this happen? What's going on?
Maybe if they had gone with one of the other Disney greats.
Seriously, how about any other Disney dad in the history of Disney dads except freaking David Tomlinson? Can we maybe, I mean, David's got a great voice, but yeah,
Fred McMurray.
way too many.
Yeah, Fred McMurray. There you go.
For real.
Dean Jones.
Yeah, but it just, because David's in it, it got Poppins pigeonholed and kind of suffers as a result.
Yeah.
Great song though.
All right. Another one, my daughter disagreed with me.
Oh, here we go.
1986, my number 6. I chose Great Mouse Detectives, World's Greatest Criminal Mind.
I am so glad somebody picked this movie. I love this damn movie. Oh, Jesus.
Down, Jeff. Down.
No, I'm not, because people don't give this movie enough love either, for the love of God. Good job.
Now, she was expecting me to pick one of the other ones, but yeah. I love Vincent Price. He is a Disney staple, still in the park. And a lot of people forget that he was in cartoons, not just Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
He didn't just do Thriller.
Right.
However, I did catch a clip of when I was looking this up of him doing that Thriller intro thing on the old Joan Rivers show from the.
I literally had that on the tip of my tongue. It's the only time he ever did it the whole way through on television in any form after the Thriller video was released.
Heart.
Yeah, I mean, he literally rattled off, and Joan was sitting there. Even Joan Rivers was speechless, and that's a rare thing in of his damn self.
Right.
So, yeah. The second Joan was just, and the audience ate that shit up, man. They were loving it. It was awesome. But yeah, Vincent Price in a Disney role as the villain. Can we just applaud that choice by Disney? Bravo.
That's almost given.
Yeah, he's got that sinister voice to him when he's on.
Not
and it was such a good choice for Radigan. Oh my god!
Not to mention Radigan actually kind of looked like him.
Right? I mean, Jay, throw it back up. He's kind of got that Vincent Price shape to his face and his. I mean, look at that. It's hard because profile there, but
especially with the cape and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's straight up vampire Vincent Price. he's just a big giant rat villain in this case. But
okay, I'm gonna guess you guys won't even probably remember my number 5. A lot of people don't, but you'll remember the stars that came out of it.
Okay.
And from 1984 to 1994, there was a little show on the Disney Channel called Kids Incorporated. It produced Stacey Ferguson and Jennifer Love Hewitt, among others.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, I know the name.
Yeah, but then she just went by Love Hewitt.
That's true.
And now Stacey Ferguson goes by Fergie.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Yes.
Wow. That's
pre-Fergalicious days.
That is pre-Fergalicious days.
Wow.
Yeah, and Love Hewitt is probably pre-Party of 5 too.
Oh yeah, way pre-Party of 5 here. Figure 85, yeah.
I mean, they went through a few incarnations over the years, over those 10 years, but my favorites were when Stacey and Love, and then after that when they kind of went more hip-hop retro, and I was like, But yeah, wow. It's another Disney Channel show. It actually started in syndication, and then Disney picked it up as their own.
Wow.
So it started, it was produced, designed. Disney said, okay, we'll put it on syndication, see what happens. If we like it, we'll buy it. And they did.
And it lasted for a decade.
Your face, Jeff, I swear.
So
it was the realization of who those two young ladies were.
That's part of it, but full disclosure, everybody knows at this point, this is now the third one we're taping. We got the other two in the can. This is the only one that I have no freaking idea the show existed till right now. Yeah. So good job, Tradition. You got me. I
watched some Kids Incorporated back in the day, but I preferred the Mickey Mouse Club.
Right. And at this stage of it wasn't quite MMC yet because it wasn't quite the Justin, Brittany, Christina era, but
it was the party era,
right? Which was kind of just
may remember that.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in reruns.
The party was after Justin and Brittany.
They were before.
Was there a thing before?
Late 80s.
MMC, yeah, that started.
MMC, I remember was
Brittany and them came like mid 90s.
Okay. Either way, the traditional, I never heard Kids Incorporated. I never heard that phrase until right now. So damn, I'm impressed.
It's okay. We won't call the boss man and get you fired for it.
Well, don't worry about that. Just make sure I can make sure I actually turn in my Ovaltine and cookie for once because I don't feel quite so old not knowing what that is. I feel better about my damn self today. Whoa, that's bright. Okay, yeah, I remember that logo. Now that you show it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you figure that's competing with that for Disney space. That's a tough road to hoe. So it's got the boss there. What are you gonna do? So
yeah. All right. Number 4. Another one from Jay's list, but a different song. I went with Once Upon a Time in New York City from Oliver and Company, 1988.
There you go.
I mean, that is the song that sets the tone for the whole movie.
Yep.
It is Huey Lewis. He has a very unforgettable voice, just like Billy Joel.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is that, you know, it kind of gives you the whole segue of, you know, this is all about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, anything can happen. It's New York. Anything's possible. You know, like on MMC when they had Wednesday, you know, anything can happen days.
Mm-hmm.
This was it.
Another thing we should adopt in the parks, for real.
And I mean, can you get more 80s than kicking the movie off with the synthesizer intro and Huey Lewis?
No.
Like, seriously, that's about as 80s as you can get.
You figure, Jay, you mentioned earlier, you know, Huey Lewis is still very much, you know, because Back to the Future is still cooking so much that they had a sequel a year after this movie came out. You know, they were still a very, very hit thing, and Huey Lewis was still counting them residuals. So, you know, Huey Lewis in the 80s was the thing. And yeah, people forget that Oliver and Company is a twist on the classic Oliver Twist, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to say twist twice. I completely loved that one. That's okay. Is a take on Oliver Twist. So having that set the stage, it's like, okay, I kind of recognize the elements now that I hear the story behind the story. So that's a great way to start it, like you said.
All right. Here's one you probably never heard of, Jeff, if you haven't heard of Kids Incorporated.
Oh, boy.
It was also on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, I probably didn't then.
Massive star name. Shelley Duvall.
Oh, wow.
Harry Anderson. Gary Shandling. Terry Garr.
Jeez.
You have... Wow, Jeff is looking completely clueless.
Yeah, I am. I have no... I know those names. Very... What in the hell's happening?
The name of the movie was Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme.
Wow.
It is the who's who back then. Harry Anderson, Gary Shandling, you know.
And apparently Little Richard for some reason.
Yeah. It is honestly, it's a story basically about Mother Goose, who is Jean Stapleton.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, as Mother Goose, who has had a child named Gordon Goose. He is the most basic human being in the whole rhyme land. And one day, Mother Goose disappears. So Gordon Goose has got to go find his mother. He then runs into, well, should I say, Little Bo Peep runs into him with her car because she drives backwards. According to her, it's the only way to drive, which is Shelley Duvall. And they go on this whole journey through Rhymeland looking for his mother. You run into Bobby Brown, who's the Three Blind Mice. You run into Stray Cats. You've got Simon, you got Garfunkel, you got all of them. It's, yeah. You might want to check it out. My song from that movie is Party with the King. It is with Little Richard. Right. It is quintessential Little Richard, tune, beat, everything.
And wardrobe.
And it fits him so yes. And it fits him so well.
Right.
You know, oh my gosh. Yes. I showed Natalie this one, probably 5-6 years ago, and she's been hooked since. She's like, why do I not know about this? I'm like, you do now.
Yeah. For the truly educated, who's Jean Stapleton? All in the Family, Edith Bunker.
By the way, Vanilla plays.
Whoa, look at you. I love it.
I can do it with my voice right now.
I'm not gonna do Carol because I'll butcher the poor man's memory, so we'll just let that be. But yeah. If you're a fan of All in the Family, you know who Jean Stapleton is, and the fact that she's playing Mother Goose in this, and all the other people in it. Yeah, I gotta find this on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's definitely on Disney Plus. So,
actually, they're looking to put it on.
Okay, official cast member, do this. Do that. Yeah.
Put all the old 80s and 90s Disney Channel
Everything
stuff
we're
on.
mentioning today. If you haven't put it on there,
Please.
company, looking at you guys. I don't know who runs Disney Plus now, but Bob, trickle down. Make it happen. There you go. Anyway. There you go.
All right. One of Jay's favorites.
Hmm.
Number 2. It is from Robin Hood from 1973.
You know, go ahead. Go ahead and do your choice. Because
Okay.
Yeah.
The Phony King of England.
Love this song.
Several reasons. One, I'm a big fan of Phil Harris.
Yes.
You know, he was Baloo, he was Thomas O'Malley, and then he was Little John. And, you know, honestly, growing up, Jay knows this. I used to say Kitty ate Baloo because the first thing you meet Phil Harris as is a bear.
Right.
And then next thing he's a cat.
Yeah.
And you're going, okay, that voice.
Yeah.
Kitty ate Baloo. Yeah.
Kitty ate Baloo.
Then Little John ate Kitty. So
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the circle
Little John
of life.
ate Kitty. Yeah. Little John ate Kitty who ate Baloo so much that Baloo and Little John dance almost the same, like almost as if they're the same person. Anyway.
well, that's because they do.
Under the bus. Don't mind me, company. There you go.
Oh,
Recycled.
Disney loves recycling scenes. And
That's right.
yes, they did with Little John and Baloo.
Yes.
Robin
We
Hood
recycled
is
before it
almost
was cool to recycle.
entirely recycled scenes.
Just a little bit, yeah.
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 There's recycling things before it was cool to recycle, kids. There you go. But yeah, Phony King's a great take. What I was surprised at, there was not one Robin Hood thing on your list. What in the hell, Williams?
I did say that Teresa had one on her list that was on my list that I removed for her. This was that song.
But there's so many other songs in Robin Hood too. I'm
But
surprised,
this is
brother.
the most iconic.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, Oodalali is a hiccup at the end of the day.
Roger Miller, period.
It's best remembered for being turned into the hamster dance. Whistle Stop. You know, Love kills the movie, brings it to a screeching halt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But Phony King of England, that is like the jam. And Natalie used to always love the line, a minute before he knows they're there, old Rob will snatch his underwear.
That's fair. That's fair.
Used to always make her giggle, still does. I bet you if I just messaged her those lyrics, she would start cracking up, send me the laughing tears emojis.
Yes.
Yeah, I played a lot of these songs before it came on here, and Alana was laughing at that scene too. It was like, why does he want his underwear?
It's the
Like,
best song in the movie, which is why I had it on my list. But again, when I saw that Teresa was going to have it, I'm like, okay, for the sake of not having duplicates, at least in this part of the countdown,
Right.
I will concede it to you. And then the fact that she had Darkwing as an honorable mention, and that was going to be on my list. It was like a little give and take there. You know?
I dig that. That's fair.
So that's why Robin Hood did not appear on my list.
All right. I will grant you clemency in that case, sir.
All right. Now, for those who know me, know that this next movie hits home. It is one of my all-time favorites. It had a lot to do with my uncle before he passed. Not to mention my husband still apparently had a thing for Helen Reddy back in the day. And that is Pete's Dragon. The song specifically I chose is Passamaquoddy, or in Idaho, Passamaquoddy.
Right.
Alan Dale, I give him so much props.
Yes.
On remembering all those mixed up words.
Right.
For the name of the town.
Yes.
He blew my mind. I was like, okay, how does he do this?
Yes.
You know, Passamaquoddy. You know, on top of that, he has to sing normally.
Right.
And then remember made up words.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he has to act.
Yeah.
You know? he's one that a lot of people have forgotten about too.
Right?
I mean, if you're a Harry Potter fan, he does the audiobooks.
Yeah. Which you know because you were there when it happened. The fact that Jim Dale is the voice of the Harry Potter. Wow, I need a nap. Harry Potter audiobooks blew me away when I first found out because it was Natalie that done told me. And then I thought for a second, I'm like, you know what? It makes total sense because if he can sing Passamaquoddy and voice act and act on stage and on screen, he can pull off an audiobook series, no problem. So it makes total sense that Jim Dale would be this guy. Unlike me today because I'm exhausted and I did a 12-hour stream yesterday as we're taping this and I'm pooped. So that is what it is. But yeah,
can you speak?
No, it is not happening today. The tongue is just and just because
it's Jar Jar right now. I can spec.
I can spec does not indicate you have a brain. Yes, I know. Thank you. Bravo. I love both y'all's lists so far. I dig it.
I have a couple honorable mentions though.
Of course.
Okay, the one that blew Natalie's mind and she dropped to the ground and went, "Oh my God." I couldn't give it on the list because yes, it was on Disney Fun Sing Along, which is a video DVD, VHS back in the day.
Yes.
However, it was originally written for the 1985, excuse me, 25th anniversary, and it was performed at Tomorrowland stage. Then, when they were doing the 35th anniversary, 10 years later, they did Disneyland Fun, which is all revolved around the 35th anniversary.
Yes.
And they put that song on there. So if it was flipped, I would have used it, hands down.
Yeah.
Because my daughter ran the VHS into the freaking ground with those songs. And they really need to do sing-alongs like that again.
They really
seriously the sing-alongs,
they came up with their own stuff.
The sing-along series really helped expose our generation to some of the more forgotten songs in the Disney library.
And some that they wrote.
The first time I think I ever heard Beautiful Briny was on a sing-along DVD for VHS.
Same.
So, but yeah, they definitely need to resurrect that. It would make a ton of money. You figure they do occasionally release sing-along versions of the movies when the movie has hit that level, like they did with Frozen and some of their other movies in later years. But
yeah, there's actually a section on Disney Plus now that you can choose sing-along options for a good chunk of them now, which is great. But the song you're talking about, "Walk Right Down the Main Street USA," it is. I had forgotten it was written for the parks first because I was like, "Oh, cool, she can add it," and it's like, "Yeah, no," because it was originally
you also see characters that you don't see every day,
right? Especially on the home video that came out in 1990, because Roger Rabbit's all over that. He's not a character in the park no more. I can attest to that shit. And even the looks of the characters, they haven't evolved too much away, but you can definitely tell they're from the 90s. Like you can definitely tell they're the 90s Mickey and Minnie, the Fab Five, Chip and Dale. They look different. So.
The thing that always blows my mind watching that DVD, which I do still have on my shelves,
yes,
is the song that Pooh does on the DVD where he's going around doing Rumbly in My Tumbly, and you see the popcorn vendor selling a thing of popcorn for like $1.35, and it's like,
right,
Jesus Christ, okay, like I feel it in my back now. Let me go get my cane.
Right.
$1.35 for popcorn. Now that same size popcorn is like $5 minimum.
Or the Donald hat that you see throughout the video.
Yeah, churro's $5 now, and that's the bare bones basic churro at the freaking cart there in Town Square. You're lucky if you get. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, that video and that sign they had at the exhibit in the Valley with the ticket prices always make my spine curve and my hair turn not gray but white. What's left of it anyway.
There we go. So heard from me. We've heard from Teresa.
Well,
Jeff,
I think so. Do
you still have more honorable mentions?
I'm
sorry. Okay, yes. Go ahead. My apologies.
No worries. I've got one that was two of them, both not for the park.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. If I can get my phone to work, it'd be really nice.
You know.
They were records.
Oh, geez, look at this.
Mickey's Disco.
I remember that. Wow.
Yeah, Mickey's Disco had Watch Out for Goofy, Macho Duck. You know, but it was definitely 70s, very 70s-esque.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
it was the voices throughout the songs.
Right.
They weren't singing them, but they were kind of in between.
Yes.
My other honorable mention, Russie Taylor's.
Yes.
First time. First it was a short movie. It was the first time Minnie had starred. Was the starring mouse.
Yeah.
Back in 87, I believe. And then this came out shortly after. And yes, I had this version with the tape and everything.
Nice.
So
that's old school there. I dig that. That's great.
But that also had Hey Mickey, but they did their own version of it, not the Tony Basil. Yeah.
Right.
But they also had Girl Talk, had a bunch of other, it was all girl stuff. It was like one of the last times I remember Disney actually focusing on the females.
Yes.
Because they do a lot of focus on the males.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, Pete. I mean, when we were watching Mickey's Clubhouse with Natalie, how often did the girls say more than just a few words?
Well, right, which is why they tried to spin off Minnie into her thing with Daisy Boutique. There. Boutique after a while, but it just, by that point, the Clubhouse itself was kind of like on its last legs, so Boutique just never really hit home, unfortunately. So
it took off better than they thought it would, I think.
Fair, but now,
but it didn't have the longevity that Clubhouse did.
No,
or that Roadster Racers has.
Yeah,
let's not go with Roadster Racers, please. Oh my gosh, no.
At least
they're just saying that
once this new Playhouse.
Once the Playhouse had phased its way out, they found a new way to segue it while keeping with sort of the theme and going with the Racers thing, and that had more longevity than Boutique had.
Yes,
unfortunately. There's an idea for Autopia,
right?
If they want to update it,
and while updated, they can try to find a way to filter that damn gas smell out of that corner. Oh my god! Every time I go to Tomorrowland, it's like I need to get on the train faster. Thank you. Oh my god!
You don't smoke, but sure as hell feels like it.
Right? It's like secondhand smoke's gonna kill me, and I ain't got a cigarette near me. We're not in the parks no more.
Like as you get off of the Autopia attraction, they should just hand you little 2 packs of Tylenol for the headache that you've developed having to smell the fumes.
Real man. There should serious synergy partnership with Tylenol or Aleve, man. Just boom, here you go. We're sorry.
Or a gas mask.
Hey, we in pandemic. Why not a gas mask? Jesus. I'm making the company money. I'm not even getting paid to do this shit today. Good grief. Anyway.
Yeah. The other 2 honorable mentions I have on here are movies. Just like Three Musketeers. One is Evita. Madonna, Rainbow High.
Oh, I forgot that was Disney.
It was 96.
Touchstone. Got it.
Yeah. Touchstone. Okay. And the other one, my favorite, that coined the phrase "put the bunny back in the box," is "How Do You Live" by Con Air.
By?
Oh well, originally it was Trisha Yearwood, and then Leanne Rimes did a version.
Yeah.
Literally right after, and then a couple years later, the radio stations did a merger. Of them together.
Yeah, it
never
was
up.
Yep. Yeah, it was Leanne's song, and the studio went, "She's too young." And Trisha's version is my favorite of the 2, but yeah, Leanne does a hell of a job on that. For as young as she was, she belts that out, man. So
yeah,
I forget that Con Air was also Touchstone.
That's my other 2 honorable mentions.
There we go.
I learned new things. I now know what Kids Incorporated is. I will definitely seek that out. I learned that Evita and Con Air were Touchstone releases, so it's part of the damn magic. I love it. That's good stuff.
All right, Jeff. You got a tough act to follow here. Bring us home.
It's kind of like we had last night when we recorded the stream, we did the live stream. Oofa. All right. I will say that we have matching movies between the three of us, but no matching songs, thankfully.
Wow.
That's awesome. We have a complete list of 30 for the first time since, well, we definitely had similarities last week, but we ended up breaking them up where they weren't similar. But yeah, this is the first time where I haven't had a song match either one of you going into and having to edit properly. So that's awesome. Number 10, I think, is better in the live action version they did later, but that's would be on the Natalie show we're going to do next week, so I can't count that. Having said that, the original version in the animated form is still cute as hell, so I went with it from Beauty and the Beast, Gaston. Now, you see the live action version, of course. I mean, Josh Gad's as Gaston, as LeFou, with Luke Evans as Gaston. Both of them singing together is just tremendous. But yeah, the original very much keeps it in. It's still lighthearted, but there's not a whole lot of admiration from Gaston to LeFou the way it is between Luke and Josh later. Gaston clearly looks down on LeFou. LeFou is a bumbling idiot throughout the entire animated movie, unlike his moment in the live action movie later. But it's still a great song because it very much, this is one of the better villain songs. And for the official record, I'm going to surprise everybody right off the bat. This is the only villain song on my list. Even Be Prepared did not make my list. I was surprised at my damn self. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Especially that one.
I got to say, I always felt like this scene was a missed opportunity for a little Easter egg because you throw that image back up there.
Yeah.
And you see all of the mounted heads in the back.
Right?
And the fact that they didn't do Max, Melvin, and Buff up
Country
there,
Bears!
Country Bear Jamboree, which was still very much a thing for at least another decade.
Yes.
After this film, like,
well, they have one of them.
Huge lost opportunity, I think.
They have one.
Yeah.
He was over in the left corner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Max is kind of chilling there, kind of sort of. Just no red nose for holiday version. I will say that the fact that they worked the Beast into one of the Sultan's little freaking figures in the next movie, it's like, man, you got to throw the Country Bears down the heads in there. That's a very fair point, Jay. Missed opportunities.
Yep.
I can't imagine the company making a mistake. I can't imagine that being the thing. Anyway,
armchair quarterbacking here 31 years later, but
That's
digress.
right. That's right. Monday morning quarterbacking is a thing on this channel, damn it. Number 9 is another one that I'm still, to this day, not a fan of the movie. Probably never will be because it's so historically ridiculously inaccurate.
Oh.
However, this song is just a thing of beauty. It really is. It's colorful. It's so beautiful. Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. Again, let's just romanticize the hell out of the Pocahontas story and make money off it. Let's just go ahead and do that, company, right? But, Jesus.
Wait a minute. Disney romanticized something? Never.
Especially something that definitely not romanticizable at all. And
anyway, like romanticizing the slave trade and everything, and Song of the South, and
what Song of the South? What's
that? Exactly. But one of these movies you can find on Disney Plus.
Yes.
The other one you can't.
One of these things is not like the other, even though they were both horribly historically bad. Anyway.
Seriously, horribly romanticized by the company, but one of them is still acknowledged, and the other one is worse than Bruno.
Right. I'm pretty sure, and I'll have to look it up here in a moment. I'm pretty sure this got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
So
the fact that the song did, yeah.
Yeah, the song. Yeah, definitely not the movie, because the movie, like the Academy would have been, no, we're not going to give you that much because this is bullshit. But the song, once Beauty and the Beast got the nomination for Best Picture, and all the songs nominated for song, because the whole soundtrack's freaking awesome on that movie, that's when the Renaissance music really kicked into high gear. It's like, all right, we're throwing things out there. These are all great. And Colors of the Wind, as the movie is, I'm not going to harp on it too much more, but this song really sets the tone and, really educates John Smith about like, okay, no, this is, you don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
Does it really?
Well, it should. That's the whole point of the song and the movie, but Mel Gibson's as stubborn as he ever was. So let's be real. There's that. If you don't know that Mel Gibson's John Smith, you're clearly not watching the right show. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Just throwing that out there. Number 8 is also from one of JJ's favorites, Robin Hood. And it's the one that you dismiss as a throwaway, but I'll go ahead and throw it up there anyway because I like it. I think it's wonderful. Oodalali. 1973, of course, Robin Hood. Again, it kind of is what it is. You're absolutely right. It very much gets, lumped in, to start this movie. And then the movie just kind of takes off, and it's a recurring musical theme throughout the movie. It keeps popping up, but the words themselves, sung by Alan Adale, are just kind of there at the beginning and sets the tone. I just like it because it's a cool little way to start the movie off. It's got a good beat to it,
Who sings it?
Alan Adale, the rooster. I don't know the real voice. I'm sorry.
Roger Miller.
Roger Miller. There we go. Thank you. Okay. And you said that earlier, so I should really know that now, and I feel bad. It is what it is.
Somebody wasn't paying attention to their sister when they were educating.
Somebody was trying to make sure I had my list straight because it's I'm tired and I was up for longer than I needed to be yesterday and not last night. But yeah, I love Robin Hood. I've loved Robin Hood even before I met y'all, and Robin Hood was part of a VHS I had that was taped off TV for years because the home video release just never happened for years and years and years for whatever damn reason. But it's definitely my favorite version of Robin Hood. And that's the long list of itself. You talk about freaking versions of Scrooge that you showed last week, Jay. I mean, God, Robin Hood's got more tellings than Scrooge, I think. Or it's definitely a neck and neck race.
I definitely think it's neck and neck there. You figure Robin Hood, Three Musketeers, and Scrooge: A Christmas Carol, probably the 3 most told and retold stories throughout cinema.
Goodness.
But I mean, I think a lot of the reason why Robin Hood was kind of just not out there for so long was because it comes from that dark ages of Disney filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's a forgotten gem.
Yeah. You figure post Poppins, they really went completely away from animation for a good while as far as the really big hits. Aristocats is in there, Jungle Book's in there, and I understand that. But just never really happened. And Robin Hood got lumped into there, and it's definitely the forgotten classic of those ones they did hit with, like Jungle Book. Jungle Book's still revered to this day, and Robin Hood's just kind of there, and it's a shame because I love it.
And I think that's because Walt had his hands in the cookie jar of Jungle Book and not Robin Hood.
That's fair. That's very fair. And like we talked about, Robin Hood recycles so damn much, it might as well be a freaking green factory.
Seriously. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go on YouTube and you can find videos that do the side-by-side comparison of all of the recycled footage from this movie and from this era. Yeah. There's a lot of it in The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yes.
Recycling footage from the Jungle Book.
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty. Snow White is recycled inside of Robin Hood.
Yep.
There's so much of it. It's just, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
Someone got lazy in the 70s.
Well, no, you know what it was, sis? The company spun the narrative of we lost our ass in the parks on money because of the shutdown, 460-something days. The company legitimately was losing their butt in the 70s because of lack of box office. So it's like, okay, we need to find a way to cut down costs. This scene works animation-wise. Let's just throw it in here and draw over it. That's really what it came down to.
Yep.
Because there was so much money not being made because people just weren't going to see Disney anymore. They were going to see, the teens were going to see the Greaser movies, and they were going to see, different things. Horror was really starting to really pick up at the box office. Yeah, hair. Oh Lord. Jesus.
Discotheques.
Disco was, and you showed earlier the disco album. That didn't even hit because it's still Disney. Meh. So Disney was already starting to become the uncool brand at this point. So that's why a lot of these get kind of like lost in the shuffle. Much like I feel this next movie I'm going to talk about the song from does, because it's toward the end of the official listing for the Renaissance. It's actually toward the end of the era we're talking about because it's 1999. I didn't realize how much this song hits me directly in the gut until I was doing my countdown to my return to the park as a guest back in June. And Thursday came up, and I had to pick a character to go with T for Thursday. And I chose Tarzan Thursday. And I took a screen cap of what's now no longer the Tarzan Treehouse because they're reconverting that for the 455th time this year, feels like. But
to the Swiss Family Robinson.
Ish, yes. But You'll Be in My Heart. God, just the little lyric I put up. Like, every time I went back to my countdown, I bawl like a blibbering idiot because being a parent now, this song directly gets you square in the parent feels. It's rough because, Tarzan gets abandoned. If you believe the theory, of Disney lore, it was by which movie they tie this in with? Frozen, thank you. But yeah, Tarzan gets abandoned and he's adopted by the family of gorillas, and this is his family. It very much is Tarzan's family, and the fact that they'll be You'll Be in My Heart, and God, Phil Collins. Let me just not even gloss over his contribution because it's him. He's the one singing it. Just a beautiful thing. I get crying nothing about it.
Phil Collins did a lot of contributions at that point.
He did. It's honestly one of the only two on my list that is really a one because it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I would dare say, and you may look at me crazy for making this comparison, but I feel like You'll Be in My Heart is like our generation's Baby Mine at the end of the day.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree with that.
When you think about the parental to child sentiment displayed within the movie, and the way the song just kind of connects with all of us now in the feels.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're right. Phil Collins did not have to do that to us. You're bad, Phil.
You're bad. That's right. Yeah. Baby Mine always hit me hard, but man, once I became a parent, forget it. The song too. This song was I always liked this song. Now it just wrecks my ass. Damn you, Phil Collins. The next one, I swear I hear every week anyway, even though it was not the intention by JJ when he picked the theme for open mic night. But I swear I hear it in the background because the music sounds just like Roger playing the piano, Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. Yeah. Like, seriously, the open mic night theme is dan 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 dan, and I'm like, that's Cruella de Vil, and he insists it's not, but it's like it is. I know it is. Okay, so this isn't a villain song in and of itself because it's not the villain empowering the song herself. This is singing about the villain, but man, tells the story because Cruella is the devil. Man, she is an evil bitch. Really, and it's very lighthearted. The song, it's very upbeat, but at its core, it's like, man, she's twisted. Like, and when she approaches the door and they silhouette her and she blasts it open, it's like, geez, like this is the presence we've been waiting for since this movie started. Because like it was cute, and you had the story of Pongo and Perdita, and then the story of bringing, Roger and Edie together because the dogs were together, and it was cute and everything. And then once Roger's, writing this song and we get Cruella's story, it's like, all right, here we go. I love it. I've always loved this song. So, number 5 for me is, I realized in discussing with JJ in a previous conversation that it was my second choice from this movie. So that's why, honestly, that's why Gaston is so low. Because Gaston replaced Whole New World. Because I had to have it in there. Y'all know reasons. I'm not going to get into it and be an idiot again. But this song did not pop up on either of your lists, so I wanted to make sure I kept this one. It is from Aladdin, and it is Robin Williams, Friend Like Me, as the genie. This scene is so entrenched in Disney lore now, once we settle the lawsuit, right, Robin? Sorry, I missed you, Williams. That it's now part of Fantasmic 2.0 because, they wanted to incorporate that part of it when they have Aladdin come in. So I thought that was really cool because we all know me and Fantasmic. But Friend Like Me is, I really think it's one of those that we talk about this. I'm sure, you and I've talked about it before, Jay, Teresa, you and I have talked about it. I think that I'm okay with Will Smith adopting the role of Genie in the live action because he does this song so well in the live action. He pretty much does it word for word. There's a couple changes because you got to change it for live action, but I think that this song really defined how it was going to be with Robin Williams and his manic energy as he always puts out there. There's no more manic song in this movie than Friend Like Me, and it's very much Robin. So that's why I love it. And I love every version of this song. I love the animated version. I love seeing our buddy Ken do it on stage. I love the live action with Will Smith. It's just a great song.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and to this day, I will never understand why we had to lose Aladdin when it went to Broadway, but Frozen's still there, and it's at Broadway too, although the Hyperion's now completely just a wasteland, but that's a whole other discussion for another day. Number 4 is one that I'm surprised wasn't your choice for the movie, sis, because you were talking about Pete's Dragon as for Passamaquoddy. I was surprised you didn't pick the song I'm picking because it is such a great song by a tremendous artist, and it very much is her song in the movie, Candle on the Water by Helen Reddy as Nora. We can talk all day about Mickey Rooney because he's incredible in this movie. It's really my first time I ever saw Mickey Rooney, for the record, because I love Pete's Dragon so much as a kid, but I appreciate this song more and more every time I hear it. And when I first heard it, that was also on the VHS I had recorded along with Robin Hood because it was off The Wonderful World of Disney with Michael Eisner introducing it. So that's how old that tape is. Throwing that out there. Sunday nights on ABC, baby. But
not anymore.
I know. No, I honestly miss that.
Well, Mr. Rogers is a little busy putting the company back together after the last year. Maybe one day he'll be on the World of Disney, but he's a little busy at the moment.
I mean, as a kid, that's how you knew the weekend was over. The Wonderful World of Disney came on the air.
You started with
Saturday morning cartoons.
No. You start with TGI Friday.
Yes.
And end with Wonderful World of Disney. I can talk.
Disney, that's right. Snoop Dogg's hosting this week. Disney, bitches, that's right. Anyway. Come on, I had to go there. That was right there. Thank you. But yes.
And what's funny is I didn't pick that song, even though I had it as an instrumental for my wedding.
Yeah. So.
But I went with something that takes a lot of talent and shows his talent.
Yeah, Jim totally owns that song. I definitely give him credit.
Jim is underrated.
Jim and Red Buttons, along the ride. Oh my God. Those two are ridiculous. Anyway, Candle on the Water. When I first saw the movie on television, they had cut part of the song. I didn't know that till years later. So when I heard the full version, I was like, damn, this is even better than I thought it was. So now it's on my regular rotation during the year when I listen to Disney songs because it's just so good. And God, Helen Reddy and that voice of hers, man, it's powerful. Just, there's no way around that. All right, where am I at here? Number 3. Number 3 is, as we talked about, the official Star of the Renaissance, Little Mermaid, and I went completely cop-out and went with the easy choice because, man, Part of Your World is, again, it's the entire theme of the movie. It's why we're here. It's why we're hearing this story and seeing this story being told, because she wants to be part of our world, and she doesn't understand why her father, the king, can think we're such bad things, because we have so much wonderful things in our world. Like, why how can we possibly be bad? And you combine the story of the movie, the theme of the song, and then Jodie Benson and that voice of hers. I mean, good Lord. It still reduces me to tears, the entire movie. The soundtrack. The movie, it's an 1989 animated movie, so almost 40 years old. It's like, okay, but the songs in this movie are just so iconic and meaningful, and very much why the company, I think, acknowledges it as the official start of the Renaissance, because the music and the songs drive the story every step of the way. Oliver and Company, I feel the songs are vital, but not outright crucial to the story compared to Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and subsequent Renaissance releases. As much as Oliver and Company,
maybe agree with you on that for Streets of Gold.
Yeah.
But the other main three, I would argue you on that, because Once Upon a Time in New York City, as Teresa said, sets the entire mood for the movie.
Okay.
Then you come into Why Should I Worry, and you've just got Dodger and his nonchalant, carefree lifestyle. And it's like, he says it in the song, the rhythm of the city. Once you get it down, you can own this town. You've just got to find your place in this world, kitty. At the end of the day is all he's telling them.
Right.
And then Good Company. That's the end game. That's what Oliver has been searching for the entire time.
Fair point. Just
Streets of Gold, I give you. That's kind of like the throwaway song in the movie, but it's still an amazing song.
Yeah, and I feel that with that throwaway, I only say that because I can't really think of a throwaway in Mermaid. Like, every song and where it's placed.
Fathoms Below at the beginning.
It tells Eric's story, I think, to a certain extent. And it tells
it sets the tempo.
Well, it sets the tempo of the movie, thank you, sis. And it also shows the long distance between the human world and the depths in which the mer people live. So I personally think it's important.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the song, but
yeah.
As far as in comparison to the others,
right,
it's the throwaway track. How many people make sure that they listen to that song when they put their CD in, and how many people skip to track 2?
Fair enough.
Well, for a while, I couldn't skip that song because we did that for a dance recital. So I heard that for about 6 to 9 months. Fanfare. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, I believe it. I believe
I was
it.
done.
Yeah. That's kind of like my number one. We'll get there momentarily. Number two, for every reason that JJ took it out, I left it in. You Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story, and Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4, and every other Toy Story thing you can possibly think of, and throughout the parks, and throughout our lives, it feels like this song is now there. This song is such an integral part of my existence that when Randy himself sang it at Dr. Jerry Buss's funeral, I wept openly watching it here at home on television because of how important Dr. Buss was to our family when he owned, of course, the Kings and the Forum back in the day. So this song, When She Loved Me definitely explains the pivot point of the franchise with Jessie's introduction and why she feels the way she feels. You Got a Friend in Me sets the tone for the entirety of the saga. It is about Andy and his friend Woody and the wrench in the works that is Buzz Lightyear. It is the theft of Woody and his friends who he relies on saving him, even though he doesn't want to be saved, thinks he doesn't want to be saved. It's the thread of three in that the friends all come together thinking they're going to die in that incinerator. It threads throughout the entire story. We've got each other. You've got a friend in me. They're all, it weaves the whole thing together. That's why it's important to me. That's why it's so high on the list. And, I'll never forget the story on the Imagineering story that Bob Iger told about, he went to one of the parades. I think it was in 2005. And, the entirety of the parade for the most part, I should say, was Pixar characters. And Disney itself, the brand, was not getting the foot space that Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Cars, etc. was getting. And this movie and this song really made that start. So, it was this movie and this song that made the company go, yeah, we better refine our shit and get our own brand back on track here.
Dare I say that the beginning of the ascension of Toy Story and Pixar, you can almost pinpoint the simultaneous decline of the Renaissance movies.
Yep.
Because 95 was Pocahontas, and then you had Hunchback and Mulan and Tarzan. All the while you've got this meteoric rise of Toy Story, Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc.
Yep. To the point of, by the time Members New Groove comes out in 2000, it's like, oof. Like I said, it's the only reason I can tolerate David Spade. And if that's the light we're looking for, I'm good. Thank you very much. Although, I will say, if Chris Farley plays the sidekick, granted, Patrick as the sidekick is just iconic, right? But if Chris Farley and Spade are together in it, might be a little bit more tolerant of the movie. Because Chris Farley helped David Spade be tolerable.
Accurate.
A lot.
Accurate.
All right. Number one, like I said, number one for me kind of is what it is. I've told the story 100 million times, and it makes me feel like the baby in the room when I say what I'm about to say, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there. The summer after this summer movie came out, the song itself was used for my promotion, not graduation. That's how young I was, from 6th grade. Okay. But to this day, I hear the opening, fanfare, and I immediately revert to a freaking 12-year-old, and I sing along because I'm an idiot. But there you go. There it is. Now, there are many different versions of the fanfare I hear in the course of my life nowadays. There's the official one that's sung properly, that Elton John, helped write, and, Elton John, of course, singing the actual lyrics, but, and then there's a version my dad sings where he just throws out some random gibberish you can't understand or whatever, and because he sees Lion King on TV and just, yeah, Dad, you got that. Good job.
Translator.
What's on the menu for dinner, Mama?
Right, shit like that. That is very much Frank. Thank you, appreciate that. But yeah, you want to go line. Yeah, the hell.
That's also shades of Chuck Taylor.
Very much so. Yes. But now it's to the point where it's such a part of our lives in that promoting class. I'm not going to say graduating because it's silly. The promoting class of 1995 at Mitchell Elementary School, that when we had my friend's birthday in 2020, when we couldn't go to Disney parks, it was decided that her and I would do this song as performance art. And I decided, okay, I'm going to ruin this for everybody once and for all. And I will tell the rest of that story to the two of you if you haven't heard it off air, because
I know the story.
We can't air that on even on our channel because it's wrong. But anyway, Circle of Life, Elton John writing it, Elton John singing it. I finally got to see Elton this year in concert, so I can appreciate it more than ever. He didn't sing this song because it's too slow for an Elton John show, because the Elton John show is just. But that voice and that music style and the Disney power behind it, like, damn, man. And when you and I talked about this, Jade, I think Teresa, you and I even agreed on this. Lion King was the pinnacle, the apex of the Renaissance. Like, once you hit that, we talk about Toy Story and Pixar being the start of the decline. Pocahontas came out the year after this, and it was like, yeah, it's good, and Colors of the Wind's great, but exactly.
Wasn't Lion King also the last hand-drawn?
I believe it was. Well, I think the remaining Renaissance movies were, at least in part, still hand-drawn, but it was definitely
Lion King. No, after Lion King.
Lion King was definitely the last one that was fully hand-drawn. Yeah,
it's not fully hand-drawn.
Oh.
There's a couple scenes where you can see the CGI, but it's
right. So yeah, I definitely see this as, you know, I mean, even the company said a couple times that was definitely the pinnacle, the apex of the Renaissance. So how can I pick a song? How can I pick the title song from the apex of the Renaissance in a Renaissance show?
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, for as much crap as we give it, I would say that Fantasia was one of the original crowning moments as far as like the silly symphonies-esque combining music with telling the stories in the cartoons.
Right.
Then Mary Poppins is the pinnacle as far as live action.
Yes.
As far as complete animation, you're hard pressed to find something better than The Lion King.
Yeah, and as much as the company was lampooned for stealing the idea from wherever the hell they stole it from, I don't remember now. I don't really care. It's like the perfect Disney animated movie. Like everything about that movie is just so good. And again, you can't go wrong with the music stylings that they already had in the company in the first place. And then, let's bring Elton in on this.
Yeah.
And he kind of started the pop combination.
And it's like, here, have all the Oscars. Go, here you go. Oscars, Grammys, take it all, kids. Just have fun.
At least as far as the mainstream goes, because you figure you had Peabo Bryson and Celine Dion for Beauty and the Beast. You had Peabo Bryson and Regina Bell for A Whole New World.
Yep.
But as far as like for the real mainstream, Elton John was the start of it, because then you figure you had Vanessa Williams for Pocahontas, you had Christina Aguilera, you had Phil Collins.
Yep. Yeah. So the movie and the song that started the movie just really, at the same time, it is monumental in its glory, and then, like you said, Jay, it's the but point for the Renaissance, which lasted a good solid, if you count Oliver and Company, 6.5 years.
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. So, under two assists, we promised. We got it.
Still got the shills to go, but
that'll be okay. That'll be because that's literally you. Because when this goes up, there will be no Talk Wrestling this week. There'll be no South by Sports Bar this week because Mikey's on. Or no, no South by Sports Bar because her and I are gonna be at the park tomorrow. So definitely no South by Sports Bar this week. Yeah. So the plugs are all you, brother.
All right.
Here we go.
So, if you haven't seen yet, go back on demand on the Casa D-18 Studios channel, where you can check out my reviews of all the Rankin Bass classics. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. That was all one day.
Yes.
You had the Frosty the Snowman trilogy. You got a double feature of Grinchy goodness. You got Lindsay Lohan, Falling for Christmas, the Netflix original film. That was my new release Saturday for that week. You've got a whole week of Christmas movies that star or feature wrestlers with people like Mike the Miz Mizanin, Hulk Hogan. You've got Mick Foley, Bill Goldberg, Santino Marella, Paul the Giant White, Saraya Paige Bevis, Maurice Mizanin, and even former creative writer Freddie Prinze Jr. all on deck there for that week.
Yes, and then this week.
Yes, this week is a doozy. These are a lot of like the more Christmassy chestnuts, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a family classic favorite, The Christmas Gift, starring John Denver. You've got the Santa Claus 1 through 3, plus, of course, the Santa Clauses every Thursday. You've got Home Alone 2. You've got It's a Wonderful Life for Christmas Eve, and the original Miracle on 34th Street for Christmas Day.
Love it.
And then to wrap things up, you've got just a few odds and ends that I really kind of wanted to throw in there. You've got another family favorite, It Came Upon the Midnight Clear, starring Mickey Rooney. You've got a huge dose of Muppety goodness with Muppet Family Christmas, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, The Christmas Toy, which very similar to Toy Story if you really look at the storyline there.
Right.
You've got It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, the Muppets' take on It's a Wonderful Life, all the way down to New Year's Eve on New Year's Eve.
Yes, sir.
New releases, you've got Spirited, a musical take on the Christmas Carol story. You've got Violent Night starring David Harbour, a little bit of a mixture of horror and Christmas.
So good.
A lot better than Santa's Sleigh. I will admit that, as much as I do enjoy Santa's Sleigh. And then wrapping up the year with the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Now, I did say there will be no Staff Boy Sports Bar this or next week. However, we will be back in 2023 all the way through the NFL playoffs and even the XFL season, maybe even the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll see how far Mikey wants to go with the show this year, but we will be back in 2023.
And then the Eve of Christmas Eve special, the show that Noah Foster himself, our resident simple man, is dreading the most.
Oh my goodness.
Because on Friday, December 23rd, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, for 2 hours only, damn it, we are setting an alarm.
That's right.
We are going to be doing our Christmas special. We're going to be talking Christmas traditions, favorite movies, songs, specials, etc. We will have the Wheel of Carols, where for a $5 super chat, you will spin the wheel, and the entire crew of us will sing a cappella whatever Christmas chestnut pops up on the wheel.
I just want to get Teresa's reaction. She's frightened for her life of the aspect of us singing. There we go. I'm good now.
We've also got Noah Foster, who's going to be quoting the book of Luke, the same scripture that Linus recites in A Charlie Brown Christmas. We may have a little story time with the Renegade or story time with Jeff Meacham, little 'Twas the Night Before Christmas action going on.
Can I do it in a John Malkovich accent like Saturday Night Live? Can I do that?
If you want to, you go for it, dude.
Cool.
These are all going to be things added to the Wheel of Carols as we start to spin and knock some things off. They will be replaced.
Yes.
Will there be earbuds given?
Damn!
No, this is not the Long Beach Grand Prix, where Staff Pro hands out the foam earplugs to its employees.
Right.
No.
You guys are evil. That's the Christmas coal in people's stocking. Holy crap.
Santa Claus, we are the gift that keeps on giving hell. There you go.
And then it disappeared. It was up there for a second. But then the Coast to Coast New Year's countdown on New Year's Eve. We are going to be covering every time zone from Eastern to Pacific.
With no singing.
No singing.
No singing.
Maybe Auld Lang Syne for the East Coast and the West Coast.
Oh,
that's about it.
Yeah. How many people know the words to that whole song?
Yeah,
depends how much of the bubbly, Chris Jericho's bubbly, actually go through that time. Because last year when I went through the bottle of the bubbly, I was live on the air at your house, and that was ugly.
We don't need Jeff turning into the Jeff Meacham that was live at Bob's Big Boy at SummerSlam 2010.
Hey, at least I remember New Year's last year, okay? And I was tipsy-tovy-turvy on that. Wow. In that room, as a matter of fact.
And
there you go.
In traditional Meacham fashion, he did botch one graphic not included. My entire Salute to Scrooge was not up there.
I did. Oh, shit.
It's all good. We'll add it here in post-production. But
that was also last week. So
check out the Salute to Scrooge, where I did The Man Who Invented Christmas, and then 7 different tellings of the A Christmas Carol story. Sir Seymour Hicks, Reginald Owen, Alistair Sim, Ebenezer Scrooge McDuck, Michael Caine, Patrick Stewart, George C. Scott, all covered over the course of the week.
And as I'm sure was documented on those shows, it is all Mickey and Scrooge McDuck's fault that we can't get through any of the live action ones.
Especially the Sir Seymour Hicks version.
For real,
God, that was a long-ass dry movie.
Yeah. I was talking about that on open mic night after the marathon stream we had. That movie is so long and so dry. I threw that up there cooking a dinner for the family, and I'm going, damn, Seymour, let's move this shit along already.
Which is hilarious because I think in retrospect, it's actually the second shortest, only being behind Mickey, but it's so old. It's set at such a slow pace.
Yeah.
It takes so long to get moving. Whereas just 3 years later, Reginald Owen and company were like, and they just took it and ran it. There we go.
There it is. My apologies, but there it is. Yeah. And, what's funny when you look back at history of all these, Reginald Owen, if you're a Disney person, he is Admiral Boom, man. For real.
Right.
There's that. So, yeah. So it's, and, Patrick Stewart, of course, if he's not, dying 100 times as Professor Xavier, he's Captain Jean-Luc Picard, who also died. So there is that. So
turned Borg.
What's that?
And turned Borg.
Turned Borg. Yeah, and that was 20, 30 years ago. He did that. Jesus, poor bastard.
Don't forget the sir. He earned it.
Yes. We talked about that open mic night last week. Yes. He earned that.
We only didn't refer to him as sir in reference to the movie because at that point he had not been promoted to sir as of yet. He is only still billed as Patrick Stewart, even though now he is Sir Patrick.
Yes. As I mentioned, he and Ian McKellen both long earned that one. So, and then of course there's next week's show, Jay.
Yes. The final installment of the Disney Greatest Soundtrack Songs show from 2001, the beginning of the new millennium, all the way up till now. The last movie that qualified is Strange World, which just came out, I want to say about a month ago.
Right. And
the special guest for that one will be my daughter, Teresa's daughter, Natalie. I'm getting there. Let me do my thing.
I didn't say anything. I did not say anything.
Yes.
Guilty conscience much?
But Natalie will be on the show to discuss that one because much like this is our era, that is her era.
Oh, yeah.
Being born in 2009.
Excuse me.
I was going to say, being born in 2009, she's had all of these films in her life, and the TV shows, and even having to be reminded of stuff that qualified for her era.
Yes.
Playhouse Disney and Disney Junior stuff that she had completely forgot even qualified because she's so focused on the Disney Channel original movies and the other movies that came out that she forgot about things like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Sophia the First, Handy Manny, Chuggington, Imagination Movers. Yes, right. Oso, Elena of Avalor. She forgot about all these things that qualify, that were part of her childhood.
Yeah.
She had to be reminded that these things are things that she could pull from. She literally had to go back and revise her list after being reminded of stuff.
More than once.
Yes,
and I will say this, full disclosure, when Jay first pitched this idea to me of doing this series, it was originally with the kids in mind. Because we definitely wanted both the kids, Natalie and Dylan, on there. Dylan, of course, God forbid he be on camera unless it's something he's into 100%, him being a teenage boy and being a brat about it. So that's why we ended up with the single guest. But now that we're done with all three of them and they're in the can and we get Natalie coming next week, I think we made the right decision because the show with Cece was wonderful. This show has gone much better than I anticipated, and we got it in under 2, so I'm proud of our damn selves. Next week's show, little long.
Yes. It's an endurance test. You may have to pause to make potty breaks. Make sure you've got.
I think you guys need to edit that.
We
for
did.
A potty break.
We did.
We did.
Originally, it was going to go up in 3 installments.
Yes.
Because it was so long, but Jeff was like, no, I got this. Put it all into one.
Well, I figured out what it was. There was, I'm sure it's on your phone too, there was so much excess file nonsense on my phone. That's why when I hit delete all that stuff, that's why it saved and uploaded in 20 minutes total. Because there was so much stuff I hadn't used in the entire time I've had this phone pretty much.
That's the thing, though, Jeff, is the phone I use for editing has nothing on it except for that stuff.
That's very bizarre.
It still wouldn't save because it was such a big file.
Well, I got that. We got it up. It is in full. So, yes, you have the ability to hit the pause button if you must, even though it's a live show. We encourage you to watch it live, but it is a lead into Monday Night Raw at the end of the day. So, if you can sit 3 hours of Raw, damn, you sit 3 hours of us. I mean,
damn right.
Because Raw is so much more than us, especially with Natalie involved. That was a great show we did. I love it.
Yes.
Now, I grant that we delayed dinner. That's our bad. I understand this, but man, I had fun doing that show.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if you watch the final product back and you see how it went and why it went, I think you'll forgive us.
Please. Yeah. I got to be at Disneyland with you in the morning.
Anything to either one of you. You guys are guilty as sin here.
We know this. We know this, and you know us.
Yes,
but
we are aware of the scenario.
Thank you very much for joining us today. You know, I know that there are a lot of hiccups in getting us to this place where we could sit down and actually crank this out, but I'm glad we waited.
Yes.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming on the show and doing this with us again.
Something I noticed.
Yes.
You said that ours was till 99, and then you said Natalie's is 2001 till today. So you're missing the millennium.
No, ours was till 2000.
Ours was 2000. I only said that Tarzan was toward the end because it was 99. It was the last one I had because I didn't pick anything from Members New Groove because just not going to do that. But and 2000 I think was Toy Story 2, which was covered. No, it was
99.
What was 2000's release for Pixar? Do we have one? Oh, but was it Bug's Life?
Bug's Life was 98 because it was before Toy Story 2.
In 2001,
I think aside from Emperor's New Groove, I don't think there was anything really.
So there you go. That's why
maybe a live action, but you know, it just happened not to pop up on anybody's list. But it was
2000
up there.
Was also Dinosaur, and that really didn't have a song to it. So yeah, it just So 2000, even though it's the end of this particular era, the music wasn't what it was. So there you go. That's why.
So there we go.
We appreciate everybody tuning in for the 2 hours today. Take yourself a little break. Go get yourself a snacky snack. Get ready for Monday Night Raw. God bless you if you want to watch the full 3 hours because y'all are crazy. Watch a Hulu tomorrow. Save yourselves the hassle. Jesus, for real. Not that I'm showing for the company by saying Hulu. That didn't do that, but I'll go ahead and take it.
Lies.
I know I'm a liar, but it's okay.
You sit on a throne of lies.
No, you did that one last year. Right? I don't know. Anyway. For our special guest, Teresa, we again thank you very much for being on with us this week. For the Renegade, JJ Williams, I am Jeff. That's a Disney show. I am Jeff Meacham. We are the Dads on Always on Wrestling, and we will see you guys next time.